Hey, how's it going, everybody? JT here on behalf of the EV Mavericks DAO. Man, it's been a long time coming, but welcome to the Dudes podcast. We have one of the greatest influential coders of Ethereum's history on board with us today. My man, Austin Griffith, is in the house. We're so glad you can make it. Boop, 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 boop. Every time I see you do that, man, I get so freaking pumped up, and you're just one of a kind, and it's such an honor that you can join us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
I feel like all of the important dev calls and the mergers and the upgrades and everything, your face has been around this Ethereum world pretty much for as long as I can remember, which for me would be 2015. I think we had run across each other on Reddit a couple of times. We've never met in real life, but I feel like we've been in each other's circles. But I've been watching your circle a lot more than you've been watching mine, for sure, because you're actually the person that puts the paint on the canvas. And I guess the teacher in you is what I really love about you. So I spent 18 years in public education at the elementary level. And I feel like when I see you in front of a crowd running a PowerPoint or teaching people how to code, you got the spirit of a good teacher. The energy that you exude, it's genuine. And I think that you're like the king of small victories, right? I feel like with coding is getting the small victories moving and getting the sausage down the line, as it were. So hats off to you, man, first of all. So thank you.
And I feel like I said to someone asked me like, how are you so good at teaching? And it's my secret weapon is I'm actually an idiot. Like I'm not one of these like giga brains that are like core protocol devs that are building the actual sausage machine. I'm just making the sausage, I guess. Like I am down to earth enough to be able to know when someone else is going to have a problem and be able to explain things like someone else can explain them. So I think my secret weapon is actually kind of being a dumbass, but being a good teacher around being a dumbass and being able to get really excited about really cool pieces of technology that, every once in a while I build something and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I have a secret move here. I want to teach everyone else about it. And I want like other people to have those feelings too.
I would say it like this. I used to teach music K through 5, and I'm not a great singer. I played trombone, but I'm not a great trombone player. I've been DJing for 20 years. I'm a decent MC, but what's great is when I go back to my classroom days, I see those kids 10, 15 years and they blow me away at how good they are at these things. So, Austin, have you had a lot of former students come back to you 2 years later, be like, yo, I put my head down thanks to you. This is what I built. Do you have a couple of those stories?
Definitely. Yeah, it's really fun. Like when they get to earning their first like 32 ETH or something like that, they reach out and say it happened. And it's always fun to hear. It's interesting in our space because the more money you make, the more anon you want to be and the more you want to disappear. So really, a lot of the times, the best references I get back from people are like in person somewhere when I'm at some hackathon. Some dude that I've never even seen before comes up to me and they're like, hey, check it out. I built this and I made all of this. I made all this money. Thank you for those early days. And it's like, yes, thank you. Give me a hug. Yeah, but I can't tweet about any of this and I can't tell anybody about this, but that's amazing.
But they're like, seriously, join me for breakfast at the Four Seasons,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want a little towel that says this is Austin or a bow tie or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. From an investment standpoint, which is maybe the only thing, is every now and then some of us people that have kind of been through the trenches of price action, at least from a market standpoint, sometimes you'll get a little story that floats across our page on Reddit on the daily discussion where it's like, thanks to these leaders in our community, I stuck it out and I finally was able to celebrate buying a new house for my wife, and they're having their second baby, and they know that the child is taken care of. It's like, man, yeah, conviction. But to me, the the art of making money off of a good trade doesn't shine even any comparison to what it must feel like to actually build something that is worthwhile for people to engage with. There's several projects that come to mind, but how fun is POAP, right? How fun is all that stuff that we engage with and like put the rubber to the road, and that stuff's not easy. And honestly, being speaking to your genuine character, the failure and the feeling of being a dumbass, it's like that's okay because we're all fallible, humans. And when you have students that are like learning from you, the best is when they point something out in a light. I'm sure that you've had this happen where it's like, oh, Austin, actually, you want to do this instead of that. Well, now you learned something, right? So that pushes forward. Yeah, it's cool. Very, very cool. So I've got just a couple of, simple origin story questions. It doesn't have to be like, when did you first hear about Bitcoin? I just want to know what was your aha moment?
So I have been a coder for like 20 years. I've always been building stuff since like sixth grade or something. I've been coding. And so I know how to program and I know how to build things. And I love building things that people use. I built like a bunch of games on Facebook, and when Facebook had their like before Zynga days, way before anything was there, I was like one of the first devs there. And I was deep down a Docker rabbit hole building like an infrastructure cloud platform when I first saw my first Ethereum smart contract. And just like seeing the smart contract and seeing it be this like chunk of code, but also see that it's like moving money around was like, like, and I give this aha moment every time. So I go talk to students all the time. If you go to tour.ethereum.org, you can sign up and I will come to your university virtually or in person. And the one thing I show them is the WETH contract. If you go, tour.ethereum.org, if you can pull it up. But one thing I show people is just like the WETH contract, because it's super simple code. It's like there's a deposit function, there's a withdraw function. Your money goes in and it keeps track of how much money goes in when you deposit. When you withdraw, it makes sure you have enough money to be able to withdraw that money. And then I say, okay, so this code makes sense to everyone, right? And everyone's like, yeah, this is stupid. There's like 2 lines of code. Everyone gets it. And then I scroll up and show that there's like $10 billion in the smart contract. And then it's like, there's 10, like this little chunk of code has an address and you can send and receive money from it. And it has 10 freaking billion dollars in it. And that's usually like that same aha I got all the years back when I looked at my first smart contract.
Okay, so one more time, tour.ethereum.org is a site you can go to, and you'll go to their university? Yeah.
Well, it usually starts with a virtual, like we do a virtual session with their blockchain club or whatever. And
depending on interest, you might come in person.
Yeah, then we travel.
Oh, exactly. Wow, this is fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking on the site right now, and so is everybody else at home. So there's all the places that you've been. Wow, all over the world. This is so cool. So when did you start? I'm in a rabbit hole here. When did this start? Was this before you joined the EF or after?
Year. Well, like I've been traveling and doing this for a long time.
Oh,
right?
I know
I've been
that.
doing this a lot.
Okay.
But this was like, let's formalize it and put it on ethereum.org and call it the Ethereum Tour. That was this year when we started that.
Okay, there you go. So this is this year. Great job, Austin. This is fantastic. Austin Griffith from the EF, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this on X, give us a like and a re-X, if that's what you call it these days. We're also live on YouTube. We're on YouTube and Twitch as well. If you got questions, hop on over to the Mavericks Discord. You can find the link at dailydoots.com/podcast, as well as links to all of our other socials. Okay, so yeah, you're really putting the rubber to the road here, and any university would be extremely lucky for you to come in person, as you've already done, like you said, in years past. That part I did know, because I remember just like I would see things come across at that time, Twitter or on Reddit. It's like Austin is out in the world, out in the wild, just making moves, and you hosted so many Zoom calls. And with the bow tie on and just the boop, 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 boop. I mean, it was just like I would watch for a while. I'm a non-technical person, but I was just really, I could tell the look in the people's eyes that were on the stream with you. It's like, man, okay, we got some people plugged in. This is sweet. And then, okay, so you've been a coder for a long time. Then you saw the aha moment with the smart contracts on Ethereum specifically. What were some of like your early crypto projects before you decided just to become a teacher?
So I started by building games. I created this game called Galleass, which was like the ship game, and I hand painted all the pieces, and then the ships would all float around. And I showed up to ETH Denver 2018, and I had Galleass deployed to XDAI, I think, or maybe it was even Sepolia. Something, maybe it was Gorley at the time, I don't know, some test net, and you could like play the game on your phone, and I would show someone like, here I'm clicking and here's me like making actions happen on chain. It was using a burner wallet at the time, which embedded wallets weren't really a thing. And I could like swap, I could go to like the market and I could swap tokens, just a bunch of things that eventually we see in games like years later, and the UX. And I showed it to like Joe Lubin. I showed it to a couple people, and everyone was like, whatever. Moody from Uniswap, and now he's moved on. Moody was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And I was like, thank you. Like, he was like one of the only people that said something nice about it. I think Andrew Redden was another guy who gave me a little support. But basically, I showed up with a game.
Those are some hitters. I mean, Joe Lubin playing your game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he saw it. He didn't care.
He's a somebody.
He gave me a lukewarm answer of send him an email or something. The point is, like, that's not how it works. Like, you don't just show up with something cool and it just rips. Like, it takes so much more work than just the engineering side. And I thought that I could just show up and it would rip. So I think that like there were lessons learned there, and those same lessons, like I teach people all the time now. It's like, okay, you've been down a rabbit hole for 6 months. You haven't gotten any feedback from any users. You haven't thought about a marketing strategy or, putting this thing actually on chain and getting people to use it. Like, you've got to do that. You can't be down a rabbit hole in a silo. Yep.
It's like how marketing and being heard and seen and felt, that is a trick. Well, and
because crypto is accessible. Like, everyone is plugging their shit. And so if let me go back to just, I'm 2018 Joe Lubin. You know how many dumbasses are hitting me up trying to show me their shit all the time? And then some other dumbass walks up and shows me this ship game, and some ships are moving around and there's some block keys. It looks like he's making transactions, but it's kind of like doesn't even look real. Like, he was like, this is just another one of those dumbasses. Like, that's how, and I probably was like in the long run of things, like, I had so much more to learn before I like really started contributing. And the way, like, to continue your question, the way I started actually getting feedback and contributing was I started doing like dev rel, sort of, where I started showing off tooling and teaching people how to use tools. And like, at the time it was Truffle, and Truffle was hard for me to use. So I kind of made my own called Clevis, I think. Clevis and Dapparatus were like these two, like, orchestration and front end. And I used that to then show off how meta transactions work. And that got a lot of attention. When you could sign a transaction, but it wasn't a real transaction, it was just a signature of the information of the transaction, and then someone else could relay it for you. You could do gasless transactions. And then we made Nifty Inc., and you could go to Nifty Inc. and you could make some art and hit mint, and you never pay any gas. Like, you could just pick up the tablet, draw something on it, and hit mint, and it would land on a blockchain, and we would pay the gas for it. Then that led to like burner. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's good. No. I was going to say, not to introduce PTSD for anybody, but the gasless transaction stuff, the way I remember it, was Funfair. They had that contract where like you would pay gas to get into the slot machine. You would take your Funfair and play the slot machine as many times as you wanted, and then the house would pay the gas to get out of the session. So you could spin the wheel as many times as you wanted in the session. I don't know if that even goes down the same road you were talking about, but go ahead.
No, that's good. That's
state channel. I think that's a word.
Yeah, state channels happened there. Those were signed messages. Yep. I think the meta transaction like led toward 4337, and then now we have 7702, which is like you can just turn a smart contract or an EOA into a smart contract, and there's relayers and everything that can run on top of that and do batch transactions and stuff. But I think one of the key takeaways was just like, it costs too much to make transactions on Ethereum for a platform to just pay for everyone's gas. Like on
Sure.
mainnet Ethereum, you just have to pay your gas. And on an L2, it makes a lot more sense. And I think mainstream audiences, when they use crypto, you will be paying the gas for them, and they will be doing it on an L2, and their custody model will be a smart contract. It won't be, I have a 12-word seed phrase in my underwear drawer. It will be basically like I land on a thing, I mess around with a thing, I use a stable coin in that thing, or I earn a stable coin in that thing, and that stable coin is stored in a smart contract that's protected with a passkey, with the crypto in an enclave on my device. No 12-word seed phrases. So I think all of that stuff will all come together eventually, and we'll see someone like Coinbase or Porto or one of those passkey wallets become successful and onboard like just hella mainstream people, probably with a prediction market, like a simple, someone wants to go bet on the game or something like that. They'll just land, they'll connect their bank account, they'll put in $20, they'll buy the Denver Broncos or Kansas City Chiefs, and then they'll do like a fingerprint, and that's all they have to do to get in and out of that. And it will be all stable coins and smooth. I hope.
Yeah.
Please let that be on Ethereum. Please.
It's got to be. It's got to be. There's so many. It seems like there's just so many tools and options out there for people. It's a pretty good opportunity for us to pivot a bit here. I was asking you before the show if there were 5 resources that you feel every coder or non-coder should bookmark and start with if they want to start doing anything related to Ethereum. And I think the number one on your list was Scaffold ETH. So I want to throw this website up, scaffoldeth.io. You can bookmark it right now. Take us through this. What is Scaffold ETH?
It's a tool that lets you tinker with Solidity and an app. So basically you make a change to your smart contract and this front end hot reloads. And so if I add a function or a storage slot to my smart contract, it shows up in my front end, and I can kind of push the button and kind of feel what it feels like. And
doing.
if it's a counter, right, and it's going to have an increment function, then a little button shows up in your front end that says increment, and you click that and you see the counter go up. It's kind of just a way to tinker with things, kind of similar to how Remix was back in the day, where you could just kind of have an IDE and mess with that. Which reminds me, I want to send you a different link I want to add to this. So I think Speedrun Ethereum was my also one of my ones, but I have this other one called
I have Speedrun Ethereum.
Dev. I just added another link to that doc.
Okay.
If you want to grab it. Sorry, call an audible here.
Oh, you do. Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Yep. Let's see. See if that pulls up for you. So this is a Remix-like experience in the browser. So someone from the Build Guild built this, and it's so you've got your smart contract on the left. If you hit deploy contract on the right, it'll deploy the contract. See that button over there on the right? There you go. And now let's see. Is there like a increment? What do you got there? What kind of functions can you call here? So you can see like the functions you can call. I don't know what it comes with out of the box, and I can't see the screen. But basically, you've got a smart contract on the left. You've got the buttons on the right, and you can make changes to your code on the left, and the buttons will update over on the right as you deploy the contract. So it's just like Remix, but like Remix Lite. It's like a very, very, very simple version of Remix. But I think this is the experience that a smart contract developer in 2019, 2020, 2021 needed to have. I think it's different now with AI, and you're thinking more like from the product market fit backwards to how I build the smart contract. But this is how it would start for a developer back in the day, is you would like learn the Solidity and the syntax of Solidity. Gotcha. And to do that, you would write your first smart contract and deploy it and call functions on it and see how it works.
Very cool. I've got Super Fizz on stage. I've also got LogrisTheBard. Logri might be rocking a baby at some point. So if he, yeah, he's on number 2. But if he wants to jump in, he can unmute at any time as well as Super Fizz. So you got Scaffold. And you got the Remix by
Speedrun Ethereum, the Byte at a Time Remix, right? I think if I had to give one meme, the meme is Speedrun Ethereum. If you are a new developer and you're like, okay, I want to get into Ethereum, how do I do it? It's speedrun Ethereum. You go to speedrunethereum.com, and Scaffold ETH is baked into this process. You could do the remix stuff at first, but eventually you're going to need to set up your local environment. This is going to the how is actually pretty easy, and I say that on the other side of the how. Like, it takes a while to learn how to build on Ethereum, but it's not the hardest part. Learning what to build on Ethereum is the hardest part. Figuring out the kinds of things that people will actually use. So this takes you through building a staking app. It's kind of like a crowdfunding app, building a token vendor, like building a token and a vending machine that sells it, a dice game that does randomness, a DEX that is this like cool hyperstructure where you have liquidity providers that are incentivized by swap fees and people can swap. Then it gets into like a batch program where we take you through in Telegram and teach you how to do like PRs and everything. Then we get into like more complicated things like over collateralized lending, stable coins, prediction markets, even gets into like oracles and multi-sigs and even a ZK voting coming out soon. So it really is like this. What we discovered when I was doing like early DevRel of Ethereum is there's just this tour of duty you have to do.
Wow.
Once you learn how to build, you have to just go build a whole bunch of things. And Scaffold ETH was like the start of that, where it was like, this is this really nice, clean, you can have an environment where you can quickly build a smart contract with a front end and you can deploy apps quickly. It's kind of like a hackathon starter kit. If you're going to a hackathon, you can build and ship an app very quickly with Scaffold ETH. But then Speedrun Ethereum kind of wraps that with a whole bunch of challenges that take you through the tour of duty of building things on Ethereum.
Excellent. I see down here.
I saw Superfizz maybe on mute there, maybe not.
Superfizz, are you there?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Your mic maybe got a refresh. Treebeard was saying on the public stage chat, JT, I don't think the Discord stream works. Not sure if they can join or not. I'm not sure what that means. Can you clarify? Treebeard's a mod. I got to treat him nice. He'll kick me off of this thing. I'm here as a guest. Treebeard also dropped a link, eth.build.
Oh yeah, it's a classic. Yeah.
Thank you, Treebeard.
Click.
Oh, look who's on the screen on the main page.
Yeah, there's a bow tie. Yeah. This is for people who don't even know like what a hash function is and like are getting into like the basics of cryptography.
Oh, there we go.
Like how a hash function works, how a key pair works, how you sign transactions. Then it gets into like using these key pairs to do encryption, how a blockchain works and how a distributed ledger works, and how like the double spend problem is and how it's solved by this Byzantine generals problem. And yeah, this is a fun one. It goes back to just like how consensus work and how blockchain works. And it was like also my, like as I was learning this stuff, I was teaching it back. So it kind of reminds me of my journey getting in.
I'm going to bookmark this because I've been asked to come to a local high school and talk about cryptocurrency. And I'm just going to skip all cryptos and just go straight to Ethereum because I'm a snob and I can. And I want to, I know that there's some kids in that room that might take this website and really make use of it because the basics they're great for everybody.
Yeah, scroll up to the top. It'll take a little bit to load, but if you scroll up to the top and click the build button there, right there on the left, it'll take a minute to load because it's a pretty heavy thing. But now you've got like this environment, and you can kind of drag around, and if you hit the little button to generate a key pair, there's like that button it says "click me" on the left of there a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, click that. So right there, you're basically generating private keys.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it shows you how a mnemonic is generated. From the mnemonic, a private key is derived. From that, the address is derived. And you can talk about when you want to create an account at your bank, you got to go to your bank and say, can I please have an account? When you want to create an account on Ethereum, you just generate a giant random number. And these mnemonics help with that. We basically hash a mnemonic and it's easier to remember. But your identity on Ethereum is just this private key. And that private key is something that, you're right, someone could guess, but it's so long and so big that there's so much entropy there that someone can sit here and try to guess them forever and they'll never find one with any money on it. And once you kind of start giving that kind of to a classroom, they start to get that like, oh, this is this is like the Wild West. This is like futuristic Wild West, where it's like there isn't any central person I have to go ask for permission. I can just like use math to participate, which is really cool.
Okay, I'm got some folks in the chat. They're saying Logri says, I get no audio through Discord, so there's nothing to engage with. The Twitter stream I'm watching is 10 seconds behind. So the audio on Discord, well, I'm firing up green on Discord, and Austin's firing up green, and we're having our conversation on Discord. Let me kill my streaming screen.
It's all going to break. Here we go. Here we go.
And I'm going to shut off my video for a second. And can you guys verify in the chat that you can hear us now?
What do we have to do?
I don't think we have to do anything. I could refresh Discord, but we're working. I don't know what. If you guys are not hearing any sound at all, hit Control R on Discord, and it'll reset Discord, because it might just be an audio thing on your side. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go back to sharing the screen again anyway. Dude,
it's hilarious. Your like little lion icon like talks when you talk. That's amazing. Love that.
That's kind of fun. So do you know what that is? I took the EV Mavericks.
I've seen him before.
Yeah, I took the EV Mavericks thing off OpenSea, and I put it in Grok, and I let it just Grok and do its thing, and then I converted it to a GIF or whatever. And
nice.
if you're a Nitro subscriber, mad flex, I know, $30 a year, you too can have a yapping lion. So
that's pretty sweet.
Oh man, this is a riot, man. Well, okay, so we got Scaffold, we got Speedrun Ethereum, we got
Solidity by examples there. It's a good one to just like get the understanding of the syntax.
Solidity by example. Okay.
The very first thing is you can go to Solidity by example and you could look at a hello world and understand the syntax of Solidity. I don't know if that's what people do anymore. That's what I did, but I think what people do now is they talk to GPT and say like, whoa, how do I build on Ethereum? And it says you should do this, and this is what a smart contract looks like. So I think the like GPT is kind of the teacher these days, and hopefully it's trained up well. But back in the day, you would have to like write the syntax yourself, and so you would go learn Solidity at Solidity by example, or by reading the Solidity docs, or go to Open Zeppelin and read some of those contracts. Like once you learn of the basics of the syntax, you have Scaffold ETH or Remix or something like that. You could write smart contracts. Like I said earlier, you need to go build a bunch of things. So speedrunethereum.com will take you through building all those things, but also go to like Open Zeppelin and look through all of their contracts. Go to like Uniswap V2 and understand all these other protocols, even like rewrite them from scratch just so you understand them.
You were
lots of stuff to learn if you're a builder.
I was watching you on stage through the YouTubes, Dev Connect, or what was the most recent one about a week ago. Anyway, you were talking about having people go look at the wrapped ETH contract and going to OpenSea and just check that out. That's kind of where the rubber meets the road. Go look what's already been built. There's plenty of good examples out there. I like it.
Yep. Yeah, that was a WEF contract I was talking about earlier. Definitely something that like is a nice aha moment for kids when I show them off first thing.
Coming across.
It looks like you had the CTF there. You had the looked like Space Invaders kind of thing. Yeah. So this is at Dev Connect. We are going to have a CTF, and there's a lot of money to win. Thousands of dollars in prizes. If you are a crack Solidity nerd, you should come show up. Last year, we did this at DevCon, and we got like 100 or so teams, and we gave out thousands of dollars, and it was a very hard challenge. It took them maybe 30 or 40 minutes to work through it, like the best team. I think only like 10% of the teams finished, and we're going to make it a little bit harder this year. So we're going to be at Dev Connect. Ooh, if you could here's another link. Our schedule at Dev Connect is
perfect.
devconnect.biddlegiddle.com. That will take you to our schedule. We have a workshop room all week on on the premise of DevConnect in the actual venue. You can go to the yellow pavilion, I think, and this is what we're going to have. So we'll have like, building your first app, but then stablecoins, prediction markets, ZK voting. Then we have like a mini app morning where we teach you how to build mini apps. Then we have the capture the flag. We have a students meet companies event. So lots of fun stuff at DevConnect, and you can get our schedule at devconnect.buildguild.com.
Austin, how many people at the EF are helping you produce all this content and exposure?
It's kind of weird. There's kind of blurred lines between EF and Build Guild, but Build Guild is kind of like my DAO, and no one, it's not like my DAO, right? But it is the DAO I founded. But there's about 10 members in that DAO, and there's probably 2 members in the EF. So there's actually like a DevAC team, which is me, and then I think Benji was recently added, and Elliot, who came from the EF. And that's the whole team. I think Rick Moo is on the payroll somehow. The guy who does Ethers.js, but I think from afar. And I think Sham is the academic secretariat, and I think maybe we have to pay him. But there's a small team, and really Elliot is the only guy to answer that question. Elliot's on here doing a talk. Philip from the Build Guild is doing a talk. Shiv from the Build Guild is doing a talk. A lot of this is orchestrated and built by Carlos, who's kind of like the CTO of the Build Guild. A bunch of people are doing talks that are not in the Build Guild, like Horsefacts from Farcaster and other folks within the ecosystem. The CTF was built by Carlos and Damu. So I got folks helping me for sure.
That's good, because that's
small team.
It's a lot of work to produce like all these ideas to help incentivize engagement, and structuring competitions is always good, and making them really fun is the trick. So that's hats off to you. Superfizz, he says, ETH build is the shit. When I was playing with ETH build, I created some vanity keys and sent some ETH to them, and those funds were faithfully swept a few days later, just as I hoped they would be. Austin's tools deserve even more exposure. He's like, yeah, we ask Claude now. Hey, Claude, develop a fully featured CDP tool for me.
It's true. Yeah. You can do that with Scaffold ETH too. So Scaffold ETH has a smart contract and a front end, and it has a cursor rules. So when you pull up Scaffold ETH, I one-shot apps for students where I'll do like build a voting app with a smart contract and a front end, and it will like Scaffold ETH will do that in one shot. So it's not that far away that we have like more complicated things, but you can make simple things in one shot with Scaffold ETH.
Treebeard posted the token contract for wrapped Ether here.
The WEF token. Yeah. How much money is that? If you scroll up there, it'll show you how much money is in it right now, but it's something like $9 billion.
Okay,
depends on the
was
price
that
of ETH.
2.17 to
8.4 right now. ETH is down.
Yeah, I see the on-chain market
8.4 billion. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, look at all the commas there. That's a 3-comma club number. So when you show the code right there and you show the deposit and with the withdraw, it's like this very simple code in the contract. And then you scroll up and say this thing has an address, just like another human has an address, and any bot or script has an address. This thing has an address, and you can send money to it. And when you send money to it, it gets deposited, and you get a token back in return. And then you can return that token, and it has kept track of how much money you put in, and you can get your money back. It's really simple code, but there's $8.4 billion in it. And so that's kind of an exciting thing for a programmer. Like, you too can program money.
That is something else, man. That is something else. Let's see. So Scaffold, Speedrun, Build Guild, the games, Solidity by example, and Cypher.
Yeah, move on to like Cypher and
Cypher
and Rare Skills, right? This is kind of like after you know the syntax, after you've built a bunch of things, you kind of get to this new kind of pit of despair that is like, I know how to build smart contracts, but I can't get a job in Ethereum. You need to build a bunch of things, but you need to upgrade your skills. And so Cypher and Rare Skills are two curriculums kind of beyond my curriculum that take you through even more things and get you more exposure to building in the decentralized world.
All right. And Rare Skills.
Rare Skills is the second one. There you go. You got to go learn tick math. Like, go learn tick math for Solidity v3. I was talking to Jeffrey from Rare Skills the other day, and he said something like, finance or math, finance is math, or let's see, what did he say? Decentralized finance is just finance, and finance is just math. So you need to learn the math, I think is what he said. And these guys will teach you that. Like, you need to be good at math to build complicated DeFi protocols, and Rare Skills will teach you those things. And everything is free on Rare Skills. You can pay for to have your hand held through it, but you can also do it all for free. And so if you're a math nerd, you should just go, I mean, you should speedrun Ethereum, you should build some things, but then you should go to Rare Skills and learn through their ZK book, and also learn through the Uniswap V3 like tick math.
Excellent. This is all great guidance. I've got a couple of questions from Reddit. I want to make sure I get these in. So
cool, let's do it.
Yeah. So first of all, this person Harog, just to give them a shout out, they're the number one person on our Dudes leaderboard. They've been a huge contributor to the daily general discussion, all the way back on ETH then on to ETH Finance, and now on our Ethereum. And he's got 3 questions here. I'll read them out, and we'll figure out how you want to try to answer these. But the first one: where do you think are most developers lost in going from the first contact with Ethereum to actually having a usable product with traction? Is it technical issues like Solidity or front-end development? Are the issues a wrong view on what is a useful product is? Or are the issues rather organizational and funding, like finding partners and consistent funding until a product market fit is found? I think you kind of saw some of this in your frustrations of building a game and trying to get traction. But what are the things that are most lost on developers when they get into all of this? What's the hardest part about?
There's definitely like
shipping?
a whole gamut you go through, right? Like there's multiple rabbit holes. Like, you think you have everything figured out, and you don't know what you don't know, and then you learn something new, and you're like, holy shit, I don't know what I don't know. There's so much more to learn. And I think it starts with just like the syntax, and that's easy. Like, people can learn the syntax pretty easily. They can go to Solidity by example. They could go to a Remix. They can go to Scaffold ETH. They can dink around with writing a few smart contracts, and you quickly get the syntax. And then it's sort of like, what kinds of things work now? And that's when you start like learning these things, you realize that it's not about putting Uber on chain. There's like a specific thing that you need to learn, and that thing is like incentives and mechanism design. When you're building something on chain, let's say you need something that needs to happen every night. Mm-hmm. The Web3 cron job is a thing that I talk about a lot. But let's say you need to have something that happens absolutely every night on chain. And if it doesn't happen, your whole protocol is done and it's destroyed, right? So how do you guarantee that this thing is going to happen? Well, you could start by just like setting up a server and having that server check in every night, right? But that server is going to fall over, right? And so you're like, okay, let's have multiple servers. Let's have a server in Tokyo. Let's have a server in Virginia. Let's have a server in Colorado. And all of them check in, and at least one of them will run this thing. And let's say you have all of those on Ubuntu, and Ubuntu has a bug, or Microsoft Windows or something like that. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where if you run even a federated set of machines, they can all go down at some point. What you need is thousands of machines all over the world, all checking in. And to do that, you need to incentivize them. You need to build an incentive system where one person can check in. And when one person, anyone in the world can check in, and only one person is going to validly make that check-in. So basically, you write the rules that say anyone in the world can check in. And when they do, they get paid $100. And then it resets, and no one else can check in after that until the next 24 hours. And this is really, really important. And then you write the code in a bunch of different languages, and you give it to a whole bunch of different people. But the incentive is the important part. The fact that there's $100 up for grabs every night means thousands of machines all over the world on different operating systems, in different time zones, on different internet connections, all are going to be trying to get that $100. And that kind of a system is going to cause at least one of them to successfully check in and keep the system alive. And this is how everything from, keepers to even liquidation mechanisms in lending protocols work. And so there's just this like learning how, or the types of things you need to learn, and to realize that this is about mechanism design and incentives. It's not about making NFTs or minting a token and selling it. Like
it.
there's this specific thing about incentives around building fully decentralized apps. And I think that's like a thing you have. So there's like you got to learn the syntax, then you got to build a bunch of things and realize that like incentive design is super important. And it's not just my machines checking in. I need to build the rules so everyone can check in. And then I think it's finding product market fit and some of the things that were mentioned there, where now that you understand how all these systems work, you need to be thinking in terms of, thousands of people that don't trust each other need to coordinate using your app. And you need to build something that allows thousands of people to coordinate that don't trust each other in a useful way. And finding those things is really the hardest part. Like each of those is like a different boss, and the boss gets harder and harder. But I think finding product market fit is the final boss, I think.
And it's like ever-changing incentives in a world where everybody's attention span is increasingly shorter. So how do you keep your product viable? Like constant updates and all the incentives to continue incentivizing people to come back through the door over and over. Like the Candy Crush model where you just, it's just a long play of like the same thing. It's just, but I got to buy these power-ups. I'm not saying I play the game. But I may have bought a power-up or two along the journey because my flight was delayed or whatever. And it's like, screw it. I'm just going to veg on this stupid thing. But those models are constantly changing.
Don't think of building Candy Crush on chain. Like some people will say, I want to make money on Ethereum, so I could build the next Candy Crush on chain. Think of it differently. It's not about building like this experience for one person to veg out on, right? Think of it more like building an insurance co-op for the flight that you're about to take.
There it is.
If someone wants flight insurance, they might want to invest in something where they can get paid back for the flight not working. But what if you wanted to have that in a decentralized way where thousands of people all over the world could be the house or the company, and they could run this insurance company, and anyone else can buy in and get insured, and you would need some like Oracle system that has information about flights that tells you, that always checks in every night, that tells you what the flights are. So you need some kind of incentive system for people to put flight information on chain, and then you use that to do insurance and statistics to figure out what the insurance costs, and then you allow people to buy into that insurance, and then whoever runs the house gets a little money from doing that. That's the kind of system you put on chain, not the veg out game. I mean, games are cool on chain, but they're going to look different. They're going to look like Dark Forest looked.
Yeah.
They're not going to look like Candy Crush.
Yeah, I was just using it as a model for incentivizing people to, put the coin in the machine.
But it's a good idea of like what people think when they think of how do I make money in crypto. They think I'm going to build a game that people like, a clicker game.
Yeah.
And you want to like get people over the fact that like you don't build a clicker game here. You build like a global co-op. And that's the kind of thing that's valuable on Ethereum.
I've talked about it in a previous podcast. I won't go to it too much in depth, but I saw this a talk given actually in Kansas City at a crypto event. It was a trucking company. There was a blockchain involved, and they had a smart contract involved. And a lot of people don't know this, but in the trucking world, most of the mom and pop shops have to get a small short-term loan to cover the cost of the shipping, because the receiving companies, they don't normally make whole until T90, like 90 days later. And so the companies, they got to pay their drivers and stuff. So they have to take these short-term loans in the real world. This tokenized product, it's shipping, it's live, is people like Bob and Alice can actually cover the loan at a cheaper interest rate to the trucking company owner and it's distributed, and the risk is distributed amongst all the participants. And then what happens is the trucking company gets made whole in 24 hours instead of 90 days. And it's the loan providers that are doing the risk, but they are made whole at a later time at a it's a better interest rate for the trucking company, and the people that are providing the loans get a percentage too. It's a little bit of lazy yield play, right? But it's working and it's live. And I think stuff like that is, and it's, everybody's happy because these loan providers from the banks are charging so much interest. And it's weird. It's like a nationwide problem that it's basically a monopoly on the trucking industry, that they have to get this specific loan. And it's like, it's almost like a shark play. And anyway, so truck, if you
someone's a middleman making money there,
more money than maybe they need to. So what is the mother of invention is necessity, or whatever. So I want to get to.
Well, speaking of debt too, like debt is very important, and debt is very powerful. And probably the biggest user of debt is like the U.S. government. Like when a government wants to do some big project, they should just issue a token on Ethereum that represents that project, and people can buy that token, and then that money goes to doing that project and then pays back the token as the money flows in from taxes or whatever, right? Like issuing debt is what the government does, and that's how it operates. And then it raises taxes and pays off that debt. You can do all of that on chain in a way better way that's way more transparent and way more auditable than the current system.
I don't know if the politicians want all this transparency though.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Harag also says this is in regards to large language models changing the job market, speaking of which, for developers. As a developer, what is the area to focus on? Front end or smart contract coding? Or are these two not really that important in the future? And focus for a developer should be to understand how various protocols work and to be able to connect them in new ways and build new products.
I think probably the second thing. Front end and back end are things that will be done by an agent eventually. I think you want to like understand the smart contract in terms of how do these smart contracts work? How does a global co-op actually work? Why not Candy Crush, and why yes, a debt platform? Think you need to like build. That's what Speedrun Ethereum is all about, is like teaching you these things that actually have product market fit. So you need to like understand like the why of decentralization and what kinds of protocols work. And you want to build a lot of front end stuff just to play with it and get the feel for it and understand how it feels, right? You have used probably a lot of products in crypto that felt like the front end was built by a back end engineer, and it was clunky as hell, and it sucked, and things didn't work quite right. Like you need to get the front end solid too. But I think a lot of that will be helped by crypto, and it's more about the second thing of understanding the protocols and how they come together, and almost thinking of the experience you want the user to have, whether they get a loan or whatever else they do, and work backwards to what would a protocol do to be able to help everyone to coordinate in that way. So I think it's the second thing more than the first thing, especially with AI coming in.
And finally, user SeaMonkey off of Reddit. Shout out to
SeaMonkey.
Austin. You would dig this cat. So out of our subreddit, we went to Hawaii as a group, a bunch of anonymous Redditors. We went to a place called HodlerCon, which was in Hawaii. SeaMonkey brought his node with him and ran it in the hotel room. And I don't know, he's just a wonderful person, a very, very smart person. He builds all kinds of stuff, I'm certain. But his question is, and we already talked about ETH.build. His question is there any hope for a source code update for ETH.build?
Oh, man. I wish. I don't know. I don't have time to work on that anymore. Like with AI coming out, we're close to just being able to give it all of, here is the code from 2019. Here's ETH build. Here's what it looks like. Here's how it works. Like make a node library that looks like this and lets me plug in code. And then like we're close to having AI be able to do this, but I don't have time for it. I've tried this multiple times. Like, I will pay someone $1,000 a month to go build this, and it works for like 2 months, and then they lose interest, and it always looks shittier, and it doesn't feel as smooth. So I just have failed to have a human do it. I think one day an AI will do it, but I think that, I mean, I guess if you paid me like 5 ETH, I would spend a couple weeks on it. But there's probably a very low chance of an ETH.build rebuild until I can like one shot it with Claude and Cursor.
Sea Monkey. I know you got
Sorry,
5
Sea
ETH. I know you got 5 ETH
Yeah.
for Austin Griffith.
Yeah. If you send 5 ETH to ATG.eth, I'll go work
There
on
we
it.
go. There we go. The challenge is out there. Hey, who knows? Maybe the EV Mavericks. Maybe we can figure
do
something out.
crowdfunding. You know what? A really good platform to run crowdfunding on is Ethereum. You could write a smart contract in 5 minutes that says, if Austin gets 5 ETH, send it to ATG.eth by some deadline, and if not, send everybody their money back. And everyone gets their money. Nothing gets locked up. That's a perfect idea for building a smart contract.
It's fantastic.
Let's see. I sent client. You were talking about running your client in your.
Oh, I see.
I have it highlighted here.
Okay.
So we have a Build Guild client. It's running back here behind me. This is the Build Guild client. It's this nerdy looking. So if you want to run your client, you can just copy and paste this one line, and client starts running on your machine. It's really cool. You probably shouldn't do that right now. Right now, I'm not saying go run that on your machine, but someone can, if they want to. They can copy and paste this into a terminal and have a client up and running. And then this powers our DRPC. So there's that other line. It's probably like 3 lines down there, kind of right in the middle of your screen where it says --owner. Right there, you can run this client, and you can say --owner atg.eth. That's my ENS name. And that signifies that I want to opt into the DRPC system. So then we have this thing called rpc.buildguild.com that powers all the mainnet apps. When you deploy a mainnet app with Scaffold ETH, it's powered by our DRPC. And all the nodes on that DRPC are basically private WebSocketed in from all over the world using this client system. So you can run a client with one line, and this is what it looks like. You get it. It's really beautiful. But then you can opt into being a node in our DRPC and receiving client requests and answering them. And we have this proxy that when someone asks it, what's the price of ETH? It goes out and asks a couple nodes in the network what the price of ETH is. It comes back, it spot checks that no one's lying, and then it sends it along to the end user. So you get this nice DRPC with spot checking out of the box with Scaffold ETH, and it's powered by this system. But I run my node in my hotel room all the time too, because I have one running all the time on my machines. There's also one in the background of all my videos. Yeah. Because it's easy. I just copy paste this one line in.
I love it. Well, Austin, I want to be respectful of your time, and I thank you so much for coming along for the journey today, and we'd love to get you back on in the future anytime. And I'm looking forward to watching you just keep doing what you're doing, my man. You're a rare gift in the world beyond Ethereum. You got that energy, that excitement, and the drive, and the ability to make mistakes and learn from it and let other, just figure out, you lift people up, man. And that's a rare thing in the world. You're putting out a real product. You've made it to the ivory tower at the Ethereum Foundation. I mean, it's just, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, what's next for you in the next 5 years? Where do you see all this going? I feel like I feel like the last 10 years have been amazing, and the next 10 years are just is gonna be a real hold my beer moment as this thing just does its thing for the world.
So.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope all these things that we're talking about, like the government issuing debt and institutions coming on chain, and any given developer who wants to do a fundraise can just deploy a quick smart contract. I hope we see all of those things.
Yeah.
Even Candy Crush on L2.
No.
So let's go.
Please, God, no. All right, brother, man. Well, I'm going to move on to the second part of the show. If you want to stick around, all I do is read Reddit, so you don't have to. But I've got kids. I have 3 boys now, so I've got look
business
at you.
to attend to upstairs. Yep.
We're going to senior night for we have 4 kids. My youngest is a senior, and she's going to be walking with us.
Congrats.
Halfway embarrassed, holding her arms of her parents, across the football field tonight, Friday Night Lights here in Kansas. So, yeah, I get it, man.
Congrats.
All right.
Enjoy.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm not there yet.
You will be, man. You're going to blink your eyes,
Soon.
and they're going to be moving out of the house. It's not fun.
Yeah. I know it.
We're almost empty nesters, which means we can do whatever we want. Austin Griffith, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, man. Take care, brother.
You. Thank you.
We'll see you. What a joy, man. What a joy. Austin Griffith from the EF. Thank you again for joining us on the EV Mavericks podcast. Well, it is time. So we had... I had some people saying that there was some audio issues on Discord, but there weren't any issues on Twitter and X. And if that's the case, we'd appreciate it if you give us a like, give us a follow if you haven't done so already. You can subscribe to the podcast at dailydoots.com/podcast. And I think it's about time that we move on to the second part of the show. Awesome. Excellent. Here we go. dailydoots.com. I'm going to refresh the page because my man Hani Abu has refreshed the site. Coming in at number 10 this week, Aiden and Cairo. An ethical trade, both tied at 118. Crypto Alwell currency at 127. JS Tears at 131. Hani Abu at 134. Tricky Troll 164. Benito 2030 at 176. Super Fizz climbing up at 234. LogrisTheBard at 245. And Harog is at the top of the list at 275. The Weekly Doots live stream is all about showcasing the best of the week from the daily general discussion on our Ethereum. This is a read-along reaction series, and if you want to follow along, head to dailydoots.com, designed and produced by our very own Hani Abu. Big thanks to Tricky Troll for capturing and curating each day's Doots, and the A-Word for curating this beloved weekly list. Subscribe to us on all your favorite platforms by visiting dailydoots.com. And as always, if you know somebody who wants a piece of this action, send them my way. All right, here we go. We're going to get right on down to our weekly roundups. We've got some future guests. I'm not going to announce them today. I'm working on getting one particular person coming on to the show. I'll say she is one of my favorite people that I've been following that's not necessarily perfectly like crypto native, but she's a mover and a shaker and a big thanker to the crypto community. So it'll be interesting if I can get her to come on. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's not worth even trying to name drop it all until it's in the bag. Morning roundup. No leave 4512 chimes in. Ethereum altruistic theme 367 chimes in at 3,967. I think we slipped a bit there. Frank the Tank 0.0357 on the ratio. A weekly haiku courtesy of JS Tears. Post quantum ready. Recovery already. Market still sweaty. I want to add the line, Mom spaghetti. I don't think that's gonna go. All right. How does he do it, JS Tears? How do you do it? And our ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first, by user Dark Raiden. Let's see. This is a duder number 1 for the week. Got to be a duder number 1. This would have probably came from today's Daily Dudes, which I have not scored yet. So Dark Raiden, congrats on making it to the Weekly Doots as a first-time duder. Our shitpost reads, well, don't even ask the question. The answer is yes, it's priced in. Think Amazon will beat the next earnings? That's already been priced in too. You work at the drive-thru for Mickey D's and found out that the burgers are made of human meat? That's priced in. You think insiders don't already know that? Come on, the market is an all-powerful, all-encompassing being that knows the very inner workings of your subconsciousness before you were even born. Your very existence was priced in decades ago when the market was valuing Standard Oil's expected future earnings based on population growth that would lead to your birth. at what age you would get a car, and how many times you would drive your car to work every week, and how many times you take the bus or the train, etc. Anything you can think of has already been priced in. Even the things you aren't thinking of. You have no original thoughts. Your consciousness is just an illusion, a product of the omniscient market. Free will, that's a myth. The market sees all, knows all, and there will be forever, from the beginning of time until the end of the universe. The market has already priced in the heat death of the universe, obviously. So please, before you make a post on Wall Street Bets asking whether Apple has priced in EarPods 11 sales or whatever, know that it has already been priced in, and don't ask such a dumb effing question again. Oh my gosh. There's your shit post of the week.
Great researcher.
Very good. Nice job.
And he's not just writing about Ethereum, he's writing about...
All right. User Rhythm of ETH. Rhythm of ETH last week got a triple kill on one of the dailies. Duder number 76, about to be on the top 10 in just a matter of time, really. Rhythm of ETH makes it clear that the battle for institutions on public chains is not yet won. All right. That's a lot of words for this. Banks are getting their own private blockchains. They will all start as L1s. Some might decide to become L2s and L3s to Ethereum, so Swift is keeping that door open. We must avoid this constant genuflecting to TradFi. The incumbents are seeing the winds change and adapting, and they will haggle as much as possible. I think we already knew this. Swift is keeping all doors open. Unsurprisingly so, considering they have everything to lose if the Ethereum becomes the settlement layer that directly competes with them. They would never want to accelerate that process and instead have incentives to fragment the ecosystem. If the Ethereum-aligned thesis wins out, Linnea provides an entry point to migrate most from L1s to L2s or L3s, when access to liquidity becomes an obvious need. Overall, this is a minor retreat of Swift as an incumbent by virtue of hedging the bet across options, and a win for Ethereum because it gets one foot through the door. It's way better than having a Swift as a confrontational player, and it probably signals that Swift is noticing that Ethereum has an edge in the current political and economic climates. And that is Rhythm of ETH. Great job. Nice. User Moscus11 notices something annoying from MetaMask, and user Edmund Edgar, fellow moderator, explains a universal rule. Moscus11 is a Duder number 26, and Edmund Edgar, fellow moderator, is a Duder 40. Moscus11, today I learned that on MetaMask, you cannot remove your automatically created Solana wallet. All other networks and L1s can be removed. What the F? Edmund Edgar replies, when a project adopts a non-free software license, all kinds of fuckery will follow. Always. It's universal. There's no exceptions. Oh my gosh. Well said. I can't believe that's even true, man. You cannot remove the Solana wallet from MetaMask. Listen. I left MetaMask and went to Rabby, and I freaking don't know why it took me so long. I think it was mostly ignorance. But LogrisTheBard, he's like, you should be using Rabby with your Lattice 1. He's right. I think you should too. MetaMask, you got to let people get rid of what they don't want. I'll say it again from Edmund Edgar. I love this. When a project adopts a non-free software license, all kind of fuckery will follow. It's universal. There's no exceptions. Non-free makes sense. Okay, user OxyETH suspects that Trezor customer data may have been leaked. God dang it. Duder number 3, I use different email addresses for every platform that I register on. This helps me detect and filter data leaks and spam. Today, I received a spam email on the email address that I use to register at Trezor. Therefore, I'm afraid that either Trezor sold my data or had a leak. Edit. Looking at the Trezor forums, I see more people that are getting suspicious emails. Someone is posting about a fake firmware upgrade email. Night. If you have a Tracer, please do not click on any links that you are receiving through mail. Golly, that sucks. Yeah, here we go again. The data collection from these companies. Although, shout out Tracer, they are open source. I think they're a good actor in this space. That's unfortunate. I can't imagine they sold the data, but can't imagine they're leaking it somehow. User PA7X1, long timer, highlights the AWS outage and Ethereum's unstoppability. All right. PA7X1. Let's see. I don't have, this is the wrong link. Anyway, I'll read. Let's see this comment here. Okay. So somebody by the name of Lord Witness, Lord Witness on the R DevOps sub. Okay. I have a client running an entire system across platform failover. I don't see that this is related. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm just going to read what's written here. People are discovering that not even multi-cloud failover saved them from yesterday's AWS downtime. Oh, I see. Okay. Meanwhile, the Ethereum network chugged along. The value of an unstoppable settlement layer is not priced in. Okay, now this makes sense. So, okay, this is in the DevOps subreddit. The title of it is Engineers Everywhere Are Exiting Panic Mode and pretending they weren't Googling, quote, how to set up multi-region failover. This has to do with the AWS event. This person, Lord Witness, it looks like a single thread here, says, I have a client running an entire ecosystem with cross-platform failover, part of it running on GCP. I'm not sure what that means. But we couldn't get everything running on GCP because it was failing when building the images. We couldn't pull base images because even Docker Hub was having problems. Today I learned that a 100% failover system is almost a myth without spending almost double on DR failovers. Bingo. You know what else didn't have a problem during the outage? I saw it was Jasper the Friendly Ghost Rocket Pool, right? Like Ethereum works. I love it. You got to... This is the long game here, right? This is the long game. Decentralize all this stuff. Those things won't happen. At least it's painfully expensive if they do to the perpetrator. Here we go. The Hans Gruber reflects on his time running testnet validators and encourages us to find a way to contribute and develop our skills. The Hans Gruber this week is a duder number 38. After 2 years and a bunch of shenanigans, I executed... Oh, shenanigans. That deserves a... There you go. Shenanigans. I 86'd all of my assigned Haleski Genesis validators. All my Hootie validators are still chewing, though. Just keep chugging. So I've got that going for me. It's been real. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. There's something quite odd about working through a massive crisis that isn't actually one. That's what testnets are for, obviously. You still have this underlying sense of, quote, we need to fix this now, unquote. But the overall vibe is muted. Anyway, I'll take this little post to remind everyone that there is more to do in the ecosystem than just complain, or celebrate about the price action, although I do my fair share of chart watching and leverage degen gambling. Well, get out there. Ask how you can contribute. Throw some of your time or your compute at something and pick up a new skill. My Linux foo, like Kung Fu, is an order of magnitude greater now than it was 2 years ago. And that translates into heaps of other marketable skills, not just in our little ecosystem, but the computer science software industry writ large. I'm looking at a major career change here in the coming weeks and months, and I can say that operating these validators and working through major problems with a small team of other Rocket Pool nerds remotely spread out across dozens of time zones gives me credibility in a field I never earned a degree in, and that's cool. Maybe it would be cool if ETH could stop effing around and get up to 10K, so maybe I wouldn't have to change careers. Carry on. Hey, congrats, though. I think getting a little career change going is going to bode well for you. And I think I actually replied to you, Hans Gruber, on Reddit. I got to pull this up because I think, yeah, I said anyone that gets you will be lucky AF. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. You can just tell that you know how to dig in, you're really loyal, and you try to do things that benefit other people besides yourself. That selflessness is going to take you as far as you can imagine. Okay, brother. Good on you. All right. Wow. Rhythm of ETH. Rhythm of ETH getting a triple on the weekly, dude. Holy crap. Rhythm of ETH is like piling up, man. But he's just grabbing all the good stuff out there and sharing it on the sub. That's how you get on this show, man. Rhythm of ETH keeps us in the loop on Polygon's ever diminishing Ethereum alignment. Oh boy. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Oh boy, Polygon drama. Here we go. Today on crypto Twitter, people are not understanding these bullet points. If you're unhappy about pay for 6 years, you can leave at any point unless other things matter more to you. If your life priorities change, you should not try to rewrite your past priorities nor try to gaslight peers and supporters into believing so. The Ethereum Foundation funds Ethereum-related projects, not tech incubators for ZK proofs elsewhere. People claim Ethereum owes anything to Polygon because of ZK work, but I don't see anyone crying that all over the other alt ones made on EVM owe Ethereum anything. That's the thing with open source. Deal with it. Polygon is not even an L2, and no amount of revisionism by Sandeep will change this fact, especially considering that he's a billionaire thanks to the Ethereum ecosystem. Polygon has been looking for an excuse to detach from Ethereum fully for a long while, and the Geth core dev crying a river had basically brought to life a one-year-old feud with the EF. All these people are not just sidelined on ETH, the asset, but they are also sidelined on Ethereum, the global financial ledger. They are missing the train because of their poor decision making, and they blame Ethereum for their own shortcomings. Specifically at Polygon, they are so egotistical that they would prefer to bring Ethereum down rather than admit their mistakes and just become the L2 Validium they should have been since the beginning. This is what winning looks like, by the way. You can please some people some of the time, but you always have hagglers on the sidelines. Yeah, there you go. Speaking some truth, I guess. Yeah.
How dare you?
Harag explains a major positive development in hardware wallet security. Harag is the top of our leaderboard at dailydoots.com. Trezor just introduced their new hardware wallet called the Trezor Safe 7. It has Bluetooth, which makes it more mobile friendly than older Trezor wallets. It will be available in a month for around 250 or 250 euro. What makes this announcement special, though, is that Trezor built their own secure element chip. They created a new company called Tropico Square, which developed this chip, and there's a link to it. This secure element chip is fully auditable by security experts. Interested parties can order samples without having to sign an NDA and then publish their findings openly. To the best of my knowledge, all other secure element chips need you to sign an NDA, and if you find security vulnerabilities, you're not allowed to talk about them with anyone else. Trezor said they looked through so many secure element chips and found gaping holes in them, which are not allowed to talk about to anyone, and the producer did not care. According to Trezor, many of these vulnerable secure element chips are widely used in the hardware wallet market. The most open source secure element chips you could get until today were the ones which allowed you to open source the code you ran on them. But most do not even allow that. That is why many hardware wallets are at least partially closed source, and you have to trust the manufacturer to a large degree to not change the software under the hood without you knowing. For me, the introduction of this auditable secure element chip is also a very positive development. It will take some time until it will have an impact on the market, and I personally am still a bit hesitant and will probably wait a year or so until I would load my cold wallet seed phrase on it, just to make sure the possible bugs have been ironed out. Thank you, Harog, for that. I'm going to pass that on to the Grid Plus team because I like Grid Plus and I want them to succeed. That might be helpful stuff. All right, user E2353 covers the recent guest post for Ethereum's official socials on client diversity. User 2353 E54 on the week, 54. I had the privilege of writing a guest post for Ethereum social media accounts. Wow, thank you. That's awesome. And it was posted just now, so I thought I'd share it with you as well. My post, here's the Twitter link. I'll open it up, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a like and a retweet with the official EV Mavericks handle. This was from October 21st. Wow, this is great. It's like a 12-part tweet. Gotta love it. The Twitter link starts by introducing the concept of client diversity, one of the primary reasons for Ethereum's impressive track record of zero. That's right, zero downtime. The main topic of the post, however, are the multi-node validator clients. I'm the maintainer of one such validator client called Vero, and there's a link to it here. This is Serenita.io. I guess is how you say that. Multi-node validator clients connect to different Ethereum clients. Think Geth and Lighthouse. They connect simultaneously, combine their data, and only cast a validator vote if multiple Ethereum clients agree on the state of the chain. This way, validators can make sure they are not voting for an invalid chain. Remember how the Haleski testnet blew up a few months ago? Back then, oh wait, I gotta have the blow up sound. There we go. All right, good. Back then, an invalid chain was voted on by more than 2/3 of the network, caused mass slashings, and resulted in a network that was very difficult to get back online at all. Now imagine that kind of thing happening on mainnet. It would be catastrophic for Ethereum. A client-diverse, Vero-powered setup would not have voted for that invalid Haleski chain. If we had had higher adoption of those kinds of setups, we would have saved ourselves a lot of trouble. It's too late for Haleski now, but it's not too late for mainnet. With Vero, I hope to make Ethereum even more resilient than it is today. So here's a few frequently asked questions for the stakers around here. What about DVT? That also protects against client bugs, right? And answer, currently DVT only protects against downtime bugs, not consensus bugs. Both SSV and OBOL are working on addressing this, so that will help at some point in the future. I personally believe multi-node validator clients like Vero and Vouch are the better choice for validators managed by a single entity, whereas DVT shines when multiple node operators are involved. The next question, I'm a home staker. Should I use Vero? Well, you can't. It's free and it's open source. It's simple enough to set up, even for home stakers, and gives you additional protection. Having said that, I believe the true responsibility to run these more complex multi-node setups lies within the professional staking node operators out there. And there's some more frequently asked questions in the docs. I'm happy to answer any further questions you might have. And that is user E2353 for this week. Very helpful stuff. And congrats on getting the Twitter handle for a day. They would never hand me that handle. Never. I'd probably demonstrate like how I like to do barbecue, like pulled pork or something. They would, no, they'd kneecap me. Vitalik would come out and he'd hook the leg. All right, I'd be out of there in a heartbeat. User Rhythm of ETH for the triple doot of the week shares a good article on Ethereum capturing alt L1s. All right, here we go. This is such a great article on how Ethereum is capturing alt L1s masterfully while working towards offering options for sustainable and reliable L2 businesses and making this a creative to L1 network effects and deflation mechanisms in the long run. Specifically relevant, the stats about L2 profit margins and how widely they vary when blob limits are low, then tend towards less volatile when there's a wider range for price discovery. And there's a link to that content. Remember, we said that Ethereum is to rollups what cloud service providers are to software businesses. Let me read that again. We said that Ethereum is to rollups what cloud service providers are to software businesses. What happened after the cost of using cloud services dropped? The demand grew, and so did the revenues of the cloud providers. AWS is the cleanest example out here. It continues to cut prices for customers and still grew like a utility. And we saw what happened later. Okay, and there's the decentralized.co site here. Looks like it's got this, the link to this article is on dailydoots.com if you want to go find it. And finally, How Chisel for the week, for this week's Doots. Our final Doot of the week is a Dooter number 3. Let's see. Oh yeah, How Chisel. I'm glad, I'm going to do a shout out real quick. This name I recognize because he's a YouTuber. He doesn't just, he's starting to like, he's a YouTuber, but he's participating in our daily discussions. And I'm going to pull up his YouTube channel because I want to make sure, we also know that he's a good quality YouTuber. And I think people should give him a follow. So How Chisel, it's 90 Seconds to Crypto is the name of his channel.
Months, sometimes even years, to finally get paid for their content. I almost got paid instantly, and not into some holding account that the platform controls, straight into my wallet. And you already know it, fully self-custodially.
There you go. So How Chisel on Reddit runs a YouTube channel, 90 Seconds to Crypto. Shout out to you. Thanks for being a good contributor to our Ethereum and not a drive-by grifter, man. Like we need more media people that can help expand, and we hope that we can get your channel some follows out there. But alternatively, we just appreciate that you're coming back and actually contributing content that's not related to your channel. So he's producing other content as well. So it looks like he got a Gitcoin grant. This is what he wrote for the weekly round, or got selected for the weekly roundup. Gitcoin grants 24, round 24, privacy round is now live. As a staunch advocate for self-custodial and privacy tech with a mission to spread the good word on good work in crypto via my YouTube channel, I'm extremely honored 90 Seconds to Crypto has been accepted as an applicant for the Gitcoin round 24. I do all of my video work end to end on my own dime to bring value-led, principle-driven content to the cesspool that is crypto YouTube. Hats off to you. I am with you, my man, end to end. This privacy round uses a combination of quadratic funding and MACI private chain, or MACI, MACI private on-chain voting, but more importantly, even a $1 donation in WETH counts towards a bigger match from Gitcoin. So I don't know that this round is still live. Let's see. Appeal for votes, add to ballot. I think it might be done. Oh, I'm wrong. 4 days, 11 hours, and 3 minutes left. All right, so I'm gonna donate to his channel on Gitcoin and see if we can get him some money. So I'll put this in the podcast. Well, we had our chat up here. I don't know what happened. It's hidden. If you're on the stage on Discord, you can put that there, and then let me go over to Restream. And I don't know if this link will actually, it probably won't embed as a link out there, but at least you'll have it. Let me go here. You'll see this populate. This link I just shared, this is Discord, Twitch, and YouTube. This link should show up. And you can go, just donate $1 worth of ETH to How Chisel and help him get a little money going. He does a good job. He does really good editing. It's very rich content. And I think he does just a bang up job. So there you go. Hats off to you, my friend. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. Yeah. So if you want to stick around, that's fine. I'm going to be editing this podcast, getting it out there on all the different channels. Thank you so much for subbing and smashing the bells around here. Stick around after the live stream if you want to hang out on Discord with me. It's great. I'll be opening up. I'll probably go to the public voice channel. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the EV Mavericks DAO and the daily general discussion on our Ethereum, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.